Moving forward, we have an interactive session. This truly is one of the most anticipated session for me personally, given that it's on fintech. Fintech is one of the most talked about topic, I'd say, in the business world right now. Upcoming session is Fintech Innovation, Shaping the Future of Businesses in Nepal. As our speakers, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Anjani Fuyal, CEO, Genesis Solution. Likewise, I'd like to invite on stage Ms. Sunaina Ghimire Pandey, President of CAN. And moderating the session is Mr. Amit Agrawal, President of Fintech Alliance Nepal. Can we please have a round of applause for our speakers? Are we tired? Yeah? I'm sure this session will refresh us all. Our speakers have joined us, and I'm sure we'll have an insightful discussion on the fintech landscape of Nepal. After the session, we still have 2 more sessions and a closing session remaining. But given how interesting all the sessions have been, I'm sure all of us are looking forward. Over to Amit sir now.
Very warm good evening. I know you all must be tired by now, but we'll try to keep the session more interactive and talk about very specific points. The topic being fintech innovation. I'm very glad to have Anjani Dai and Sunaina ji here as a panelist. So, talking about fintech, Nepal has done very good in something, but still lacking in the major part. So when we talk about fintech, especially in payments, Nepal has done wonders. Like we can find QR codes, be it at Everest Base Camp or in a small tea shop, and when we are traveling without our physical wallets these days, we are not worried. We are not worried that how will we pay. In fact, I am not carrying a physical wallet right now as well. And this is evident when India started cross-border payments with Nepal, the NPCI India. Nepal was not their priority. They had launched in other 7 countries. And out of those 7 countries, like Mauritius, Singapore, Dubai, Sri Lanka, Bhutan, they launched in Nepal hoping that there will be few transactions, but to their surprise, the India to Nepal transactions were 4 times higher than the other 6 combined. So which shows the penetration in Nepal about the QR code payments. Nepal has done really good in fintech. The companies here are now building for big banks in Bangladesh, in Indonesia, in GCC, and even the US market. So my question to Anjani Dai here, you have been traveling so frequently and your company has been serving many banks and many similar corporates in nearby markets. While Nepal has done so good in the payments space, still Nepal is lacking behind in fintech. How do you compare the innovation that is happening around the world, like you witness, and what is it that is stopping Nepal from achieving that innovation? Where do we stand, and what should be our next steps?
Thank you, Amit. And look who is asking the question. The guy who founded one of the largest fintech company and did a lot of fintech revolution in Nepal itself. Well done, Amit, and thank you very much. I think you have shown the pathway as a legend yourself. Again, we all know how things have evolved over the last few years with QR payment. I live in UK and I come here for a very short time. I actually myself haven't done a QR setup. And when I go and try to make cash payment, people look at me in a very weird way as well. And I can imagine how things progressed, which is awesome work. But what I would like to say, I think I could say it in a Nepali word, यो possible भएको मुडे बलले मात्रै हो. Now why I am saying मुडे बल भन्दा मुडे बलले त्यो इनर्जी योथको जुन जागर हुन्छ त्यसले हामी जवानीमा कार पनि धकेल्न सक्छौं भने जस्तै हो. I think we have reached here because of that. And Amit, like you mentioned, why we haven't gone beyond that? It's because we didn't start in a very sustainable way, and we do not need to do everything in a sustainable way, but over the time we need to do patching. So where I am heading is, these fintechs, they are running on hardware infrastructure platforms. We talk a lot of good things, but let's talk on the backside of the challenges, the technical infrastructure challenges, right? So when it is a peak time, in a festival time, maybe in Dasai, maybe in Tihar, maybe in other festival times, I mean, Amit can have a lot of examples, right? That's where we see the systems struggling. I mean, when one of the largest e-commerce run like discount day, for example, that's where we see systems not working. That's where we see payment failing. And then the blame goes to these awesome people who work so hard to enable Nepalese people to have access to digital financing. And one of the reason, again, I think a lot of government people have already left. Again, no blame to the new government anyway, or even the old government, or even the bureaucratic as well. But the fundamental challenge is the challenge with the policy itself. For example, looking into the global world, we see a lot of modern fintech companies. I mean, you might have heard the name Revolut. I would like to make it more interactive. Anyone heard of a name Revolut, a financial app? Revolut, Wise, Stripe maybe. I mean, there's so much news on Stripe. I think people are either very bored or very hungry, or maybe it's a new thing as well. So these are the Western world fintech platforms which were built overnight and which surpassed the transaction compared to traditional banks, which has been there for probably, I don't know, like 50 years or 100 years or something as well. So in Nepal, in order to evolve that way, again, amid fundamental infrastructures, cloud, backed by either big providers like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, be it Alibaba, Huawei, Tencent, those are the hyperscalers. Without that, the scale is not possible at all. And another next thing is, digital transaction is the layer one work that we have done. And again, in Nepal, it's a good thing, but then there's competition on everything as well. If someone starts a fintech, there are like probably 100 other companies trying to, lobby to take the license. It is a very unfair competition. Rather, where it should head is, it should be heading towards the complementing entrepreneurship. For example, if someone is creating e-commerce, the other company should be looking into creating logistics. There is no point of competing itself on e-commerce itself. Same applies to wallet and other areas as well. So what I mean by that, so what could be the complementing on fintech, for example? So the next phase is going to be powered by credit, intelligence, risk modeling, embedded finance, blended finance, and all the AI-driven financial services. And these are the next things that are going to be powered by world-class technological infrastructure. And now with AI coming into picture and changing everything that we built from last 10, 15 years overnight, there's no other solution than embedding AI on everything. And who powers the AI? The likes of NVIDIA, the world-class GPU company, for example. Now with generative AI coming into picture, I mean, I might sound a lot of alien here, but again, since this is a recorded forum, and I hope a lot of younger people as well in the crowd or in online world would hear it, so I wouldn't hesitate to speak what I feel like I should be speaking in a world-class forum. Companies like Anthropic, creating Claude, for example, and we have seen companies who are spending probably $1 million plus on Claude tokens per week, for example, right? Everyone knows ChatGPT, backed by OpenAI, for example, changing life of so many people, not just for tech people. I mean, in the crowd, can you raise a hand who use ChatGPT? I know it's a very senior crowd, but please. Okay, so again, I'm not sure if the adoption is low or you are very shy to raise a hand, but ChatGPT has gone beyond technological people, for example, right? So again, Amit, I wouldn't say a lot on this side, but as I said, like, the phase 2 is still yet to be unlocked. And a lot of entrepreneurs who are either watching it or in the room, I think you should focus on the adjacent entrepreneurship rather than competing entrepreneurship. And for the policymakers, building the right policy that has proven in the world is going to be key.
Thank you, Anshin Rai. Like you rightly mentioned, one of the key pillar is infrastructure, and the other one would be policy. For infrastructure, let me tell you, the licensed institutions, they can't host the data in any outside cloud. So we are not allowed, like for example, Khalti is not allowed to store the data in AWS or something. Yes, but yeah, I think the government is coming up with the policy of what kind of data should be stored on what kind of cloud. The segmentations and like Tier 3 and other Tier 4 data centers are in pipelines in Nepal. So hopefully that would be great. Now, one of the other major pillar for the digital public infrastructure, like comparing to India, if you see the entire revolution was after the Aadhaar stack, right? And Nepal has also done phenomenal work here in Nepal for distributing NIDs. So for a country with the population of 30 million people, we have issued more than 20 million NIDs to the adult population. Like it has not been given to the minors. That's a very, very big number because the NID is with full biometric. It is like with your retina scan, with your fingerprint and everything. So we did really great work in distributing and issuing the NID, but it is not useful until and unless we have a data exchange platform, a sharing policy, API sharing policy with the consent layer and the authentication layer, right? So it was connected with passport. That's why we were able to issue a lot of NIDs. But what is stopping Nepal? Why are we delaying exchanging the NIDs with all the ministries? What is delaying exchanging the NIDs with the banking and financial or maybe insurance sector and other licensed institutions? Like there has been talks for more than a year that the QR code will be integrated with Nagrik app and all the BFIs will be able to scan and do the centralized KYC. So where is Nepal lacking? Because until we unlock the sharing of NIDs, we'll not be able to unlock credit ratings or digital lending. So what is your view on this digital public infrastructure and what are the specific hurdles that you see in going forward?
Actually, looking on this, the national ID API integrations with other ecosystem, so I think the major challenges I have seen is the revenue sharing model. So there is a legal policies on place, but till today, they have decided to take 5 rupees, 10 rupees and 15 rupees per transactions. But still, the government is struggling to get the free of cost transaction within the government entity. And it has not been finalized for the private sectors. So still, that is the major lack that we are seeing today, that this NID is not integrated with other system. There are other barriers like data interoperability system is not on place. So this is also major challenges that we are seeing. किनभने हाम्रो जुन डेटाहरु छ त्यो centralized KYC छैन. So still national ID ecosystem there is a KYC system, but the जुन KYC हामीले जुन data exchange को लागि demand गरिरहेको छौं, that KYC system is still on not place जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई. अहिले खाली नेपालको कर्जा सूचना केन्द्रलाई मात्र entire जुन हाम्रो बायोमेट्रिक्सहरु हाम्रो 3 पुस्ते या हाम्रो नाम सबै कुरा चाहिँ एक्सचेन्ज गरिरहेको अवस्था छ. रिमेनिङ 13 गभर्नमेन्ट एन्टिटीको लागि चाहिँ खाली अथेन्टिकेसनको काम मात्र भइरहेको छ. सो बिसाइड्स दैट अरु अर्गनाइजेसनहरुसँग चाहिँ त्यो नहुनुको कारण चाहिँ मेजर फ्याक्टर इज द रेभेन्यू शेयरिङ मोडल भइसकेको छैन र अर्को पाटो भनेको चाहिँ मेन डेटा इन्टरअपरेटिबिलिटीको पनि एकदमै च्यालेन्जेस चाहिँ देखिया छ अहिले.
एक्ज्याक्टली. तर हामीले यही च्यालेन्जेस चाहिँ विगत 1.5 वर्षदेखि सुनिरहेछौँ नि त. यो ठ्याक्कै चाहिँ अब डिपार्टमेन्ट अफ भनौँ न एनआइडी एन्ड एनआइडिसिआरले गर्ने हो कि डिओआइटीले गर्ने हो कि होइन, अथवा राष्ट्र ब्याङ्क कसले गर्ने हो होइन. यो सेन्ट्रलाइज केवाइसीमा राष्ट्र ब्याङ्क काम गरिरहनु भएको छ भन्ने 2-3 वर्षदेखि सुनिरहेछौँ. एनआइडी को चाहिँ जुन एक्सचेन्ज प्रोटोकल र क्रेडिट ब्युरोलाई चाहिँ दिएको छ हैन टेस्टिङ गर्न हामीलाई पनि अरू बीएफआईजलाई पनि आएको थियो हैन तर यो एकदमै फास्ट ट्र्याकमा गर्नुपर्ने काम हैन किनकि यो त एन्टायर स्ट्याक यसमाथि बन्ने हो नि त यसको एउटा सानो उदाहरण हामी हेर्न सक्छौँ जब एनआइडी चाहिँ लास्ट मोमेन्टमा भए पनि भोटर आइडी कार्डसँग जोडियो हैन त्यही भोटर आइडी कार्ड लिनलाई जुन लाइन लाग्नु पर्थ्यो र जुन स्पिडमा भइरहेको थियो त्यो एनआइडी जोड्दाखेरि चाहिँ 3-4 लाख हो कि कति भोटर आइडी एकैछिनमा इस्यु भयो हैन इनफ्याक्ट त्यो जोड्नु पनि पर्दैन सबै फुल बायोमेट्रिक्स छ भने त ब्याक एन्डमा एनआइडी छ भोटर आइडी छैन भने सिधै भोटर आइडी जेनेरेट गर्न पनि मिल्थ्यो होला हैन तर एटलिस्ट स्टेप वाइज चाहिँ कन्ज्युमरले अप्ट इन गरेपछि चाहिँ भोटर आइडी बनाइयो सो यस्तो यो सानो ट्रेलर मात्र हो इक्जाम्पल तर जब एनआइडी सबै कुरासँग जोडिन्छ हैन यसले चाहिँ एसएमई लेन्डिङदेखि क्रेडिट रेटिङदेखि डिजिटल इन्स्योरेन्सदेखि धेरै कुरामा चाहिँ यसको इम्प्याक्ट त हामीले हेरिसकेका छौँ नियर बाई मार्केटमा सो यो चाहिँ हामीले कहाँ चाहिँ यसलाई भनेर एक्सपिडाइट गराउनु पर्ने हो जस्तो लाग्छ अर इभन त्यो रेभेन्यूको कुरामा पनि पर एपिआई कलको एउटा रेट त आओस् त्यो 1 रुपियाँ आउँछ कि 1 पैसा आउँछ कि 5 रुपियाँ आउँछ द्याट इज सेकेन्ड्री हैन त्यो भोल्युम अनुसार पछि रिभिजन हुन्छ तर रेभेन्यू भन्दा पनि त्यो इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर नै त्यसको अथेन्टिकेसन लेयर र कन्सेन्ट लेयर र डेटा प्रोटेक्सनको पोलिसी नै क्लियर नभएको हो कि र यो खास भनौँ न कन्फेडरेसनबाट र हजुर पनि तपाईँको प्राइभेट जुन कम्पनी छ जेनरल टेक्नोलोजीले पनि डिजिटाइजेसनमा एकदम धेरै काम गरिरहेको हुनाले यसमा केही हामीले कम्प्युटर एसोसिएसनको थ्रु अथवा हजुरहरूले अहिलेसम्म पोलिसीमा जति पनि इन्ट्रेक्सन गर्नु भएको छ यसमा केही पर्टिकुलर अपडेट छ हामीसँग
रिसेन्टली अहिले नयाँ गभर्मेन्ट आइसके पछाडि चाहिँ त्यस्तो नयाँ अपडेटहरू छैन र योभन्दा अगाडिमा चाहिँ यहाँले भन्नुभयो जस्तै सिआइबी र हाम्रो एनआरबीले चाहिँ यसमा बृहत रूपमा काम गरेको लगभग 3 वर्ष जति भइसक्यो त्यसमा पनि हामीले पछिको दिनमा चाहिँ यो केवाइसीलाई सेन्ट्रलाइज गर्ने भनेर हामीले गर्दा गर्दै पनि बिचमा ब्याङ्किङहरू सबैजना आफ्नो खर्च गरेर केवाइसी गरिसकेको अवस्था छ धेरैजना किन हामी यही यहाँले जोडिहाल्नुभयो अहिले मैले लगभग धेरैवटा ब्याङ्कको डिजिटाइजेसन केवाइसी डिजिटाइजेसन प्रोसेसमा 7वटा प्रदेशमा बसेर पनि काम गरेँ अब यति ठुलो खर्च ब्याङ्किङ सेक्टरले गरिसक्दाखेरि पनि गभर्मेन्टबाट चाहिँ हाम्रो यो सेन्ट्रलाइज केवाइसी सिस्टम नआउनु भनेको चाहिँ प्राइभेट सेक्टरको लागि चाहिँ सायद एकदमै फ्रस्ट्रेटिङ हो र आइसके पछाडि अब अहिले के भने आफू चाहिँ डिजिटाइज गर्नुभयो तर अब अझ पनि स्टिल त्यहाँ म्यानुअल प्रोसेस किन छ भन्दाखेरि सेन्ट्रलाइज केवाइसी स्टिल अभाइलेबल छैन त्यसले गर्दाखेरि प्राइभेट सेक्टर र गभर्मेन्ट सेक्टरले दुईजना सिङ्कअप भएर फास्ट मुभिङ भएर काम गर्नुपर्नेमा चाहिँ हामी छलफलमा मात्रै धेरै बस्यौँ र यसमा चाहिँ इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन पार्टमा चाहिँ एकदमै स्लो छौँ जुन हाम्रो युज टु योभन्दा अगाडिको प्यानलमा पनि त्यही छलफल गर्दै थियौँ यस्तो 5 तारे होटलमा कयौँ प्रोग्रामहरू भइसके तर इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन पार्ट इज भेरी भेरी स्लो त्यो एउटा एकदमै फ्रस्ट्रेटिङ छ हाम्रो लागि पनि जस्तो लाग्छ अब फेरि अहिले पछिको दिनमा चाहिँ अब एआई पनि आइसके पछाडि अब हामीले त्यो नयाँ टेक्नोलोजीमा एआई एम्बेडेड सिस्टमहरू नै डेभलप गर्नुपर्ने हो कि हामीसँग डेटा सेन्टर अब 3 टायरको डेटा सेन्टरहरू पनि आइसकेका छ होइन त्यो पाटोमा पनि नेपाल गभर्मेन्टबाट चाहिँ स्टिल अहिले पनि रिसेन्टली हाम्रो केही समय अगाडि न्युजहरू आउँदाखेरि पनि यति म्यानिपुलेटिभ न्युजहरू आइरहेको छ कि यो चाहिँ गुगल र मेटाको डेटा सेन्टर भन्छ बट इट्स नट ट्रु एक्चुअली होइन यो चाहिँ यहीँको नेपालको प्राइभेट सेक्टरले एफडिआई लिएर आएर बनाएको डेटा सेन्टर हो जहाँ चाहिँ एउटा क्यास सर्भर मात्र राखिँदैछ गुगलको र मेटाको तर न्युजमा पुरै पब्लिसिटी भएर चाहिँ मेटा र गुगलको चाहिँ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट आयो भनेर सो यो के भन्दाखेरि हामी जेनरली यस्तै अफवाहहरूमा चाहिँ धेरै हुन्छौँ र इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन पार्टमा एकदमै कम छौँ मलाई लाग्छ एनआरबी वुड बी अ राइट एन्टिटी टु डु अ सेन्ट्रलाइज इकेवाइसी सिस्टम जस्तो लाग्छ र क्यान महासङ्घको तर्फबाट हामीले पोलिसीमा यस डेफिनेटली वी इन्टरभ्युन र प्राइसिङको पार्टमा चाहिँ यसलाई चाँडोभन्दा चाँडो इन्ट्रोड्युस गरिदिनुहोस् भन्ने पार्टमा चाहिँ वी हेभ बिन किप अन लभिङ इट
थ्याङ्क यू सुनेना म्याम फेरि पनि एउटा प्रश्न अब अञ्चनी सरलाई होइन एउटा कुरा चाहिँ हामी आइटी इन्डस्ट्रीको भएको हुनाले म केही कुराहरू जो आइटी इन्डस्ट्रीसँग आबद्ध हुनुहुन्न म भन्न चाहन्छु आजको दिनमा नेपालबाट राम्रै लेभलको काम ब्याङ्किङ र फाइनेन्सियल इन्स्टिट्युसनको विदेशको काम नेपालमा भइरहेछ र नेपालबाटै एआई इन्जिनियर्सहरूलाई मन्थली $3,000-4,000 चाहिँ पे गर्ने कम्पनीहरू छन् होइन र उहाँहरूले चाहिँ युएसको ब्याङ्कको कतिले एआईको सिस्टमहरू बनाइरहेछन्, कसैले लेन्डिङको प्रडक्टहरू बनाइरहेछन् होइन. सो हामीसँग त्यो क्यापेसिटी छ ल, एट मास छैन होला. लार्ज स्केलमा भोलि 500 जना एआई इन्जिनियर चाहियो भने चाहिँ गाह्रो होला. तर भनौँ न, मलाई लाग्छ 160 जना जति त अन्जली दाइकै कम्पनीमा हुनुहुन्छ होइन. हाम्रो खल्तीकै पनि कति एक्स इम्प्लोइजहरू हामी अहिले कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ उहाँहरूले राम्रै ब्याङ्कहरूको राम्रै कामहरू गरिरहेछन् होइन. अब अघि योभन्दा अघिल्लो प्यानलमा हामीले धेरै कुरा सर्टिफिकेसनको गऱ्यौँ होइन. एक्सपोर्ट गर्दाखेरि नेपाल गुणस्तरलाई इन्डियाको आइएसआईसँग एउटा अप्रुभल दिएको भए हामीलाई सजिलो हुन्थ्यो. सिमिलर च्यालेन्जेस चाहिँ आइटी इन्डस्ट्रीमा पनि छ होइन. एउटा छ हाम्रो भनौँ न कम्प्लायन्सको कुराहरू होइन. अहिले दाइहरूले साइबर सेक्युरिटीमा पनि काम गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ होइन. हामीले त्यसरी अब युएसमा केही गर्नुपर्ने SOC 2 कम्प्लायन्सहरू गरेर हुन्छौँ होइन. यहाँ हामीले गरिरहेको चाहिँ नर्मल भिएपिटीहरू गरेर हुन्छौँ. सिमिलरली एउटा चाहिँ आइडेन्टिटी एक्सचेन्ज प्रोटोकल होइन. यहाँ गरेको केवाइसी चाहिँ बाहिर पनि मानिदिने अथवा भोलि हामी एक्स रोडहरूसँग चाहिँ इन्टिग्रेटेड भएर गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ यहाँबाट जाने विदेशमा हाम्रो माइग्रेन्ट वर्करहरू दाजुभाइहरू यहीँ बसेर युएसमा खाता खोल्न सक्नुहुन्छ कि, यदि यहाँको आइडेन्टिटी यहाँको केवाइसी उता मानिने हो भने. अरू यहाँबाट जानुभन्दा अगाडि सिम कार्ड लिने हो कि, अरू उताको कुनै भोलि त्यस्तो पोलिसी आयो भने हामीले उताको सेयर मार्केटमा यहीँ बसेर इन्भेस्ट गर्न पाउने हो कि होइन. अरू हाम्रो एनआरएनको साथीहरूले चाहिँ सजिलै यहाँ भनौँ न एफडी गर्ने अरू पैसा लाने लैजाने गर्न पाउने हो कि. सो एउटा चाहिँ यो हामीले गर्ने सर्टिफिकेसन, डेटा स्ट्यान्डर्डाइजेसन, कम्प्लायन्सलाई हामीले बाहिर कसरी मान्यता ल्याउन सक्छौँ, एउटा प्रश्न त्यो भयो. मैले 2-3 प्रश्न एकैचोटि सोध्छु सो द्याट यु क्यान एन्सर. र दोस्रो कुरा चाहिँ हजुरको कम्पनीले पनि वर्ल्ड वाइड डिफ्रेन्ट ब्याङ्क्सको लागि डिफ्रेन्ट काम गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ होइन. युएसको, अफ्रिकाको होइन, मिडल इस्टको काम गर्दै हुनुहुन्छ. त्यहाँ जुन ब्याङ्क्सहरूले रिसेन्टली जुन इनोभेसन गरिरहेछन्, डिजिटल इनोभेसन, हामी डिबिएस ब्याङ्कको कुरा गर्छौँ, सिटी ब्याङ्कको कुराहरू गर्छौँ. यहाँ चाहिँ हामी यो कोल्याट्रल बेस्ड लेन्डिङमा अड्केर होइन. अहिलेको देशको स्थिति के भयो त, सहकारीको पैसा जति ब्याङ्कमा आयो ब्याङ्कले त्यो लेन्डिङै गर्न सकेन. त्यो डोर स्टेप सर्भिसै दिन नसकेपछि नेपाल अहिले लिक्विडिटी ट्र्यापमा गयो. कस्ट अफ फन्ड छ, डिपोजिट भएको भएछ, त्यो म्यानेज गर्नलाई राष्ट्र ब्याङ्कले पैसा तानेर मात्र, तर लेन्ड गर्नलाई जुन हाम्रो एकदमै टफ कन्डिसन छ कि कोल्याट्रल नभइकन लेन्डै नगर्ने होइन. बाहिरको जति ब्याङ्क्सहरूमा इनोभेसन भइरहेछ अहिले, फर्गेट युएसको, इन्डिया नै जानुभयो भने लोन ब्रोकरेजदेखि वेल्थ म्यानेजमेन्टदेखि होइन, म्युचुअल फन्ड, एसआइपिज र यति धेरै इन्स्ट्रुमेन्टहरू आइसक्यो होइन. यो कुरामा चाहिँ हाम्रो स्ट्राटेजी अहिले नेपालको ब्याङ्किङ एन्ड फाइनेन्सियल सेक्टर्सको र भनौँ न यो क्यापिटल मार्केट्स, सेयर मार्केट्सको र इन्सुरेन्स सेक्टरको स्ट्राटेजी के हुनुपर्छ र हजुरले अहिले बनाउनु भएको सल्युसन तपाईँको एनडिए होला, तर तपाईँले दिनुभएको सल्युसन र सर्भिसेसको लर्निङबाट चाहिँ तपाईँले केही सजेसन्स दिन सक्नुहुन्छ कि ल यस्तो यस्तो कुरा गऱ्यौँ भने यहाँको फिन्टेक इनोभेसन जुन आजको यो प्यानलको टपिक पनि छ यसमा चाहिँ हामीले राम्रो पाइला चाल्न सक्छौँ, त्यो सजेसन र रेकमेन्डेसन सहित भनिदिनु होला.
No, thank you, Amit. It feels very overwhelming because usually when you go on a panel, there is a lot of a macro discussion, but not very micro to the point discussion. But probably Amit coming from the actual, feet on the ground background, so many points raised, and I'm overwhelmed which one to answer. My background, I used to be UNDP consultant before I left Nepal 16 years back, and I was supporting Ministry of Finance, and our Honorable Rameswar sir was secretary back then. So I was working to digitize Foreign Aid Coordination Division. One of the fundamental problem, it was back in 2010, I think, 16 years back. What I faced was, I used to deal with government employees, and I'm sending them emails. And they were like, the email is not coming. Sometimes the email delivers in 2 days' time, in 3 days' time, the gov.np email. And to be honest, if I ask government employees now, 16 years back, the problem exists. It's the same problem it exists. The email reliability of government system, I'm sorry to say, is not working. Now, when I go and talk with governor, he's a great fan of Samir Maske, a Nepali origin guy who built a company to provide AI to the whole world and got listed in NASDAQ. So we had a very good interaction. We talked about building the AI-backed banking and, digital coins, or I'm not sure what is the right word, and all those kind of things. And I was asking, where are we going to run those things? Again, I think everything revolves around if there's no stage, where are we going to stand? The framework is needed, right? If in a country we cannot run our email platform, and there is a public news coming on the all portal in the media that 1 p.m., 10 years back was using Gmail, then last year was using Gmail, and probably this year using Gmail as well. We are going on the very fundamental issue, Amit, right? So going beyond that thing, sometimes I feel very overwhelmed because there's so much to change. And talking about what Sunenaji mentioned about the Google and Meta. So again, I wouldn't want to promote a lot about what we do, but as a company, we are the first foreign direct investment registered company in Nepal. We run a British multinational under the cloud consulting domain in 2018. We brought Amazon Cloud in Nepal, being a partner of Amazon, and a lot of companies here who are using Amazon Cloud are actually onboarded by us, even in a lot of government services as well. And when you said earlier, cloud is not allowed to use, right? Is that even true? Because when I go and talk with Rashtra Bank, they were like, our policies back in 2013, 2014, cloud wasn't there. We have never written cloud is not allowed to use. Now, when I go to the bank says, Rashtra Bank hasn't said you can use it. So one doesn't say you can use it, another is waiting for the permission. And no one actually here can answer whether it can be used or it cannot be used.
For us, like for Khalti, we can't use it. It's written there. It has to be hosted in Nepal.
No, that's true, Amit.
We can use cloud, but it has to be hosted in Nepal.
I know. That's what I'm saying, right? So there is no clear policy that defines that it should not be used. I have done multiple interactions with the Rashtra Bank officials, and they never said it is banned. They say we have created a guidelines. Financial sector just should follow the guidelines. It's a bureaucratic answer, and for people on the ground like you, they said no. Show me the server. What happened in Genji? What happened in the earthquake? Luckily, our government data center they survived, and you'd be laughing why it survived. It survived because the head of the data center who was running it said that we had a lot of garbage near the data center building, and probably the people thought this building has nothing useful and no one came over here. And we are standing today because nothing got burned because it was like probably someone missed it as garbage, right? So these are the fundamental problems. And now talking about the media misinformation. The caching system from Google, from YouTube, from Meta, not sure if there are people from ISPs like WorldLink and Vianet. It has been there. I don't even remember from when it has been. It has been there from, as early as 2003 or something. It's not a new news at all. And look what happened from last 2 weeks and all over the media. So we partner with Google. I'm one of the global Amazon Cloud ambassador as well. And I checked with Google, sending the screenshot. Is this actually real? You guys are investing. So my colleague from Google checked internally and confirmed in the internal memo that there is no news that Google is directly investing anything. There is no official news at all. And that's where I would be very surprised to hear all these things and everyone in the room and the whole country believing that, okay, now we have Google investing, Meta investing. It's not easy. So as an Amazon ambassador, I have direct access to Amazon headquarters, Seattle. I go there every year. I'm actually going to be there in first week of June as well, where I meet ambassadors like me from all over the world, almost 300 people. There's a service from Amazon called Amazon Outpost, which is a black box solution, fully backed by Amazon Hyperscaler Cloud, that actually protects the data residency that we are talking about. It was released in 2019. It's 2026 now. I have been begging Amazon to approve that service to be used in Nepal. So we could import the hardware here. It's a black box technology. And you can imagine, Amazon thinks there's no return on investment on the Nepal market, and they haven't yet just approved to use that service. Now, if a multinational company hesitates just to approve the service usage, that we are asking, we're going to pay you money to come here, I wouldn't think any multinationals, hyperscalers are going to invest in data center yet for another 5 years. I can very boldly say that on behalf of major multinational companies as well. We need to understand the ground reality itself. Now, on your question on the cross-border exchange, Amit, I know I diverted because those are the very fundamental things, right? We talk about very high-level stuff, but fundamentals would be there, right? I mean, bankers now, they were like, I don't care now what NRB says. I mean, if all of our data center was burned, how are we going to be responsible to the public? Because they're not going to have any record of, how much lakh or crore I put in the bank as well. I mean, it's all digital and it's all gone when it is burned, right? Now we don't care. We're going to put one copy of the backup offsite. Be it, I don't know, cloud is like in the sky or cloud is in Singapore or UK or I don't know where it is, because they need to make sure the safety should be there as well. And isn't it government's responsibility to make sure that a very clear line of policy is created in order to facilitate that, rather than, all these big bankers? I can see a lot of MDs and chairmen actually sitting here begging to be used by the technology, which is globally accepted and used by companies all over the world. Now, talking about the innovation side, right, Amit? So, again, a lot of potential actually what we built in Nepal. I mean, you yourself, last time we spoke, you are now wet labeling the fintech platform that you built and scaled in Nepal to take all over the world as well. Luckily, we have a right policy now. I think Rashtra Bank and industry allows tech company to invest with certain criteria. I think that's a really good beginning as well. Again, we are working with another company here called Amnil Technologies, which is a local software development company working for the banking sector. And they have solved probably all the major banks over here. Now, their technology, we are actually taking it outside of Nepal. So we are actively talking with a very big bank in Côte d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, to transport their technology over there as well. It would be a great milestone for us. Similarly, we partnered with a local software development company called IMS Software. So the company powers 20,000 customers on the point of sale technology. So you go and pay your coffee with QR and Himalayan Java. The point of sale system is actually powered by them. You go to Vatvatini, it is powered by them. But unfortunately, they were not able to scale globally. And again, the partnership has enabled us to take the Nepali technology in the globe as well. We're actively working with customers in Belgium, for example, in US, UK, and Africa as well. One final point on the technology that companies like us and other companies built. At the moment, we have 30 Nepali engineers. They are, I wouldn't say engineers. I mean, when we talk about engineering, it's more about coding. But no, they are actually world's biggest or greatest data scientists. Not even data. I mean, if I talk the financial lingo, quant data analyst people. So they are quant scientists and quant analysts. They built a credit rating model and lending model for an American bank. And that model is actually doing the automated decision to loan or to lend like billions of dollars every week, for example. And that is actually built by those scientists who are based out of not only Kathmandu. Someone is based out of Biratnagar, someone is based out of Pokhara and Birgunj, and that is actually being done. Right? So now where I think the focus should be is how can we scale those 30 number to 300 number to 3,000 number. And I'd like to add how that is actually practical. Again, fortunately or unfortunately, I represent a British multinational company. And as a British company, when we say, hey government, we would like to go and expand in Ghana, for example, the British embassy over there, they have a unit called Department of Business and Trade. They would say, Anjani, you are very welcome. If you want to do any event, we will allow the embassy premises to do the event. We will actually connect you to the local customers so you could actually sell your product and platforms as well. And this is true thing. And because of that, we are able to scale in 15 countries. And as a Nepali origin company and Nepali engineers, we are powering all these territories as well. But again, I would like to acknowledge Shankar sir, whom I see standing in front of here as well for the next panel. We have been recently started working with embassies all over the world. We have done the event twice in Nepal Embassy, Delhi, where we try to promote bilateral tech relation between Nepal and India. And that was a great thing. And I would, request the government officials and again, different Nepali organizations to take those initiatives more forward. So hopefully we would be able to bring a lot of work from outside of Nepal and then empower Nepalese people to get the work done so we could actually bring a lot of export revenue. Earlier session was all about exporting goods, but I'm talking more about exporting services, which is export over the internet.
Yep. Thank you, Anjaney. And I must say that the Nepal government has done few things in that. the embassy of Nepal in Myanmar, they hosted this event twice, and we from Fintech Alliance Nepal, we were able to take a delegation of 13 IT companies. The event was hosted at the Nepal embassy premises in Yangon, and they also hosted. They managed the hotel for the expo. And out of those 13 companies, I think 4 of them now has clients in Myanmar. Similarly, when we went to the startup Mahakumbha, I think Suman sir is here from Indian Embassy, and the ambassador sir, we went to the Embassy of Nepal in Delhi, and he was welcoming and hosting all the Nepalese startups. So I think initiatives like this, we also took for the Seamless Dubai event. Fintech Alliance Nepal had taken a delegation, and we interacted with the ambassador there, Mr. Tej Bhadu Chhetri, and he was open to connecting the Nepali startups to the companies there. And now there is a study being done, like for example, parallelly there's an event in Marriott where the Nepalese diaspora in Australia, top 100 Nepalese and others, the report is being prepared. Once the report is ready, I'll forward it to you. It's being done by IITS. Similarly, finding the diaspora, the top Nepali 100, top 100 Nepalese in America, in Europe, in other places, we're trying to get that information and see how we promote the startups there. Now, one final question before we conclude the panel is, you talked a lot about skilling, right? And we all are facing that challenges. So for example, you place 30 engineers in the US bank and they build a solid credit and lending system. So there has been many such companies who are working now. Now, there are 2 challenges that we are facing, right? A lot of low skill work that is coming to Nepal currently. Like for example, we say that Nepal is exporting $1 billion roughly, right? The IT services, and the government has an ambition to make it $3 or $5 billion. But a lot of work will be taken by AI. All the low-level work that is coming to Nepal, it will be replaced by AI. Even the coding work now, even in Khalti, now we gave a mandate to our tech team that the developers are not going to code first. The first coding has to be done by AI and the review has to be done by developers, and we have to achieve this within few months, right? So AI is already here. It is not the future now. So we will face a lot of challenge with skilling if we are not catching up, if we miss the AI wave. Like Nepal had missed the .com bubble, the e-commerce bubble, the logistics bubble. We were able to catch the fintech bubble, especially just in the payments, not in the lending side. But now AI wave we can't afford to miss, because if we miss that, the jobs, the outsourcing work currently that we are getting in Nepal will gradually decline, because we are on the 19th number in the global outsourcing index. Philippines, Romania, Brazil, there's a lot of competition. The second, you were able to place 30 engineers, but if there's a demand of 100 AI engineers, it takes a lot of hard work to select one good person, right? So for the IT industry, one part was NID, which was most important for the digitalization within the country. The other thing is skilling, right? So we have IT colleges, we have institutions, but now I think is the time where we need to do mass skilling level wise, especially in AI, right? And we need to produce that talent so that we can serve the global world, or we can increase the outsourcing, right? So what is the current status? What is the strategy, or what are the recommendations so that we can have a very clear skilling infrastructure, be at grassroots level, high school level, bachelor's level, master's level, and all other curriculum. Like if you see Dubai, they have put AI in all the schools. It is mandatory to study, right? So where does Nepal stand in this innovation? And if you are aware of any of the initiatives that is being taken, and what are your suggestions so that we are up to the mark in the talent market?
For the AI, I think we are in the very initial stage, because if I remember, we missed blockchain also. It was just hot topics, but before that, the AI has come occur. So for AI, recently I would like to answer in a two-way. One from the CAN Federation side and another one from my personal business experience side. So recently we have done the TOT training for the people from 77 districts, and we try to create at least 2 trainer in each districts, and that was a 10 days course. So we try to provide AI embedded with digital marketing, embedded with AI literacy course, and embedded with other business opportunity that they are working with. So we created 225 instructors within 10 days. And following to that, on May 2nd, that resources has been used again to the 77 districts to disseminate the AI courses to other people. So this is what we are doing from the CAN side. And we are also signed the MOU with Ministry of Labor. And NAVT is very active on that. So they have allocated some budgets from the government side. So we can provide the AI training to 3 different areas like Madhya Pradesh, Bagmati Pradesh, and Gandaki Pradesh. So that is what is happening within the country. But still, we are way behind because the AI has to be introduced within the school, within the high school, within the university. And for example, if somebody has enrolled their courses 6 months back, so they have already enrolled for 4 years. If they will come out as a graduates, at that time, they don't have much knowledge about the AI. But the demand and the supply will be has a huge gap at that time. So there should be another approach has to be done in the university to change the course within their session period also. For example, last time I was at the KU, and I asked the professor there, to the dean of the IT. So I said, if somebody has engaged in this semester, maybe they have finished the 6-month course, how are you going to change their curriculum? And they said it is easy. But if I just dig down the information with them, it was really tough. It is not so easy that they have said. So 6 महिनामा पढिसकेको बच्चालाई अगेन AI कोर्स इन्ट्रोड्युस गरेर उलाई बेसिक पढाएर फेरि ग्रेजुएट्स बनाउन इट्स अ च्यालेन्जिङ टु देम र त्यो 4 वर्ष त्यहाँबाट पढेर निस्केर बाहिर आउँदाखेरि त्यति बेलाको रिक्वायरमेन्ट फरक हुन्छ एन्ड देयर इज नो एनी रिसर्च हेज बीन डन व्हाट इज द डिमान्ड विदिन इन कमिङ 4 इयर्स अर मेबी कमिङ 5 इयर्स इन 10 इयर्स डिमान्ड के छ त अब कस्तो खालको जब अपर्च्युनिटीहरु डिमान्ड छ त्यो कुराको पनि प्रपर रिसर्चहरु भएको छैन र अर्को एउटा पार्ट भनेको अहिले सबैभन्दा इजिली एडप्ट गर्न सकिने भनेको लाइक मैले भर्खर खुशल सरलाई देख्दैछु हैन उहाँहरू जस्तो अर्गनाइजेसन या अरू एकाडेमीबाट आउनुभएको जो चाहिँ बाहिरको अर्गनाइजेसनसँग एफिलिएटेड हुनुहुन्छ उहाँ एफिलिएटेड भएकोहरूलाई चाहिँ सबैभन्दा इजी के भन्दाखेरि बाहिरको कोर्स यहाँ इन्ट्रोड्युस गरिरहेको भएर उहाँले इमिडिएटली आफ्नो करिकुलम चेन्ज गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ र उहाँहरूको इन्टर कन्ट्री स्टुडेन्ट्सहरूलाई प्रोजेक्ट वर्क दिएर मेबी उहाँहरूको कलेजको एफिलिएसन चाहिँ युनिभर्सिटीको एफिलिएसन चाहिँ 14वटा कन्ट्रीमा छ भने 14वटा कन्ट्रीको स्टुडेन्टहरूसँग एउटा सिंगल प्रोजेक्टमा उहाँहरूलाई कोलाबोरेसन गराइदियो भने सो दे लर्न फास्ट सो त्यो एकदम राम्रो एक्सपोजर हुन सक्छ सो दिस माइट बी अनदर वे हाउ वी क्यान अहिले नयाँ स्किल एआई स्किलमा चाहिँ हामीले उनीहरूलाई अझ राम्रो निखार्न सक्छौँ जस्तो लाग्छ अर्को पार्ट भनेको द इन्भेस्टमेन्ट इज नट देयर सो वी निड अ लट्स अफ इन्भेस्टमेन्ट यो एआई स्किल सेट डेभलप गर्नको लागि हामीलाई अर्को इन्भेस्टमेन्ट चाहिएको इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेभलपमेन्ट गर्नको लागि सो वी डोन्ट ह्याभ अ एकदम प्रपर इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर छैन जहाँ चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ एआईको लागि चाहिँ काम गर्न सकौँ त्यसमा केही इनोभेसन्सहरू गर्न सकौँ रिसर्चहरू गर्न सकौँ सो त्यो इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर इज स्टिल दे आर भेरी भेरी कस्टली सो अहिले सबैलाई थाहा छ होला यहाँ अहिलेको ऱ्याम र हार्ड डिस्कको प्राइसहरू कहाँ पुगिसक्यो बिकज अफ द एआई को डिमान्डले गर्दाखेरि सो त्यो एउटा पाटो छ भने अर्को भनेको हामीले यसको लागि प्रपर एउटा स्यान्ड बक्स सिस्टम पनि अन प्लेस छैन जस्तो लाग्छ सो द्याट इज वेयर द अहिले एआईको लागि चाहिँ हामी रेडी छौँ बट इम्प्लिमेन्टेसन पार्टमा वी आर वे बिहाइन्ड स्टिल आज पनि
Yeah, thank you, Shinna ma'am. I heard some companies are giving GPU server on rental model. So one of them is YZAC. They have just started at a university in Chitlang. They are giving GPU servers for training. And yesterday I heard some startup. I think AKA or something was the name. So they are giving GPU servers for training. And in fact, we through Fintech Alliance Nepal, we're talking with one bank where they could have a GPU server investment, and then they could have some kind of incubation where they could invite hackathon model people to come and work on themes like, for example, a bank might have hundreds and thousands of dormant account. How can they, activate? Or the bank wants to serve the diaspora to invest in the share market. How can they, do the video KYCs and make it very seamless? So those GPU servers are obviously very expensive, and I think infra is one problem and scaling is other. So with that, we have very limited time. If we have any Q&A from the floor, we just have 1 minute remaining, but maybe we'll be able to take 1 or 2 questions. So if you want to ask anything about fintech, cloud, or the digital public infrastructure in Nepal, or the innovation happening, we would be happy to take your questions. So one at the back.
नमस्ते खास मेरो म रश्मि केसी ग्लोबल कम्प्याक्ट नेपालबाट मेरो चाहिँ अघि जुन चाहिँ एनआईटी कार्डको हजुरहरूले भन्दै हुनुहुन्थ्यो नि एकदम तीव्र गतिमा भइरहेको छैन भनेर आई थिङ्क इट्स वान अफ द फ्लज इज जस्तै हाम्रो गभर्मेन्टले एनआईटी कार्ड निकाल्नु भयो तर इट्स नट डिसेबिलिटी फ्रेन्डली इन अ वे कि भिजुअली इम्पेयर्ड पर्सनहरू अनि हजुरको जुन चाहिँ अब यो उहाँहरू फिजिकल डिसेबिलिटी भएको मान्छेहरूको पनि उहाँहरूले चाहिँ क्वेसन उठाउनु भएको थियो कि इट्स नट इन फ्रेन्डली डिसेबल फ्रेन्डली भनेर त्यो हिसाबले पनि आई थिङ्क अहिले त्यो ब्याकल्यास भएको भएर चाहिँ तीव्र गतिमा भएको छैन आई जस्ट वान्टेड टु मेन्सन द्याट फ्रम माई साइड सो या थ्याङ्क यू
Okay, thank you for the mention. I think the government will look into it, how to make it more inclusive and serve all the citizens of the country. Are there any other queries? So if no query, thank you so much for being patient and for listening to all of us. And thank you, our panelists, Anjani Dai and Sunena ma'am, for your time. Yeah.
So I want to ask a last question. I want to know how many people are using Office 365 in this room? Anybody? Office 365.
Microsoft email.
Any Office 365 or Google. So I think मैले यसो हेर्दाखेरि 25% अफ द फ्लोरमा चाहिँ चलाउनुहुन्छ. सो मलाई के लाग्छ भन्दाखेरि अघि अलिकति यो डेटाको कुरा भइरहेको थियो होइन, डेटा सोभरेनिटीको कुरा भइरहेको थियो. सो डेटा क्लासिफिकेसन गर्न सक्छ किनभने देयर लट्स अफ गभर्मेन्ट पिपल आर हियर जस्तो लाग्छ. यो एउटा एकदमै इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ र यसमा चाहिँ पोलिसी आउन एकदमै जरुरी पनि छ. हामी जब कि आफ्नो अफिस 365 मा 1 टेराबाइट वी गट अ फ्री अफ स्पेस. त्यो 1 TB हामी कसरी युज गर्छौँ, हाम्रो फोटो, हाम्रो नेसनल आइडी, हाम्रो लाइसेन्स, एभ्रिथिङ वी पुट देयर. मेरो बायोडेटा, एभ्रिथिङ, मेरो पर्सनल डेटाहरू पुरै त्यसैमा छ र मेरो इमेलहरू पनि सबै ब्याकअप त्यसैमा हुन्छ. भनिसके पछाडि अहिले हामीले एउटा डेटा क्लासिफिकेसन गर्न सक्यौँ भने चाहिँ जुन कुरा पर्सनल एकदमै इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ त्यो चाहिँ नेपालभित्रै राख्ने, कुनै पनि डेटा सेन्टरमा राख्न पाइयो. जुन चाहिँ त्यति इम्पोर्टेन्ट डेटा छैन र जुन चाहिँ आफ्नो मेरो पर्सनल इन्फर्मेसन बाहिर जाँदैन त्यसलाई डेटा क्लासिफिकेसन गरेर मेबी वी क्यान हामी अज्योरमा त्यसलाई राख्न सक्छौँ, AWSमा राख्न सक्छौँ होइन. सो देयर आर लट्स अफ द थिङ्स द्याट वी क्यान डु. यो डेटा क्लासिफिकेसनको एउटा पार्ट चाहिँ एकदम इम्पोर्टेन्ट छ जस्तो लाग्छ. जस्ट आई वान्ट टु
वान लास्ट थिङ आई वुड लाइक टु एड. हामी अब फेरि यो सानो भनिरहँदाखेरि धेरै देशहरूले हाइपरस्केलर यो अमेजन गुगल क्लाउडका बिगर डेटा सेन्टर यति अथाह छन्, बनाइसकेका छन्. डु वी निड टु रिइन्भेन्ट द व्हिल? फर इक्जाम्पल यो सोभर्निटी भनेको चाहिँ फिजिकल बााउन्ड्रीलाई जाने कि डिजिटल सोभर्निटीको कन्सेप्टमा जाने त? फर इक्जाम्पल एनआइटीमा सर्भर बसिरहेछ, अहिले एन्थ्रोपिकको नयाँ मिथोस भन्ने मोडल आएको छ, अलिकति भलरेबिलिटी पुरानो सफ्टवेयर भेटायो भने कहाँ कता देशमा बसेको तुरुन्तै ह्याक गरेर सबै डेटा डिलिट गरिदिनेदेखि त्यसलाई चाहिँ इन्क्रिप्ट गरिदिनेदेखि एभ्रिथिङ क्यान ह्यापन. सो कन्ट्रीभित्र बसेर त सेफ त डेफिनेटली नहुने रहेछ. सो आई थिङ्क वी निड टु थिङ्क इन अ डिफरेन्ट वे डिजिटल सोभर्निटीको कुरा. द्याट्स वान पोइन्ट. एनदर पोइन्ट इज अब अगेन Sunainaji, she represents one of the very big computer extension of Nepal. I run a private sector. Actually, we started teaching cloud, data, AI in Pulchok and TU and many universities. 4-5 वर्ष अगाडिदेखि हामीले पढाउन थालिसकेका छौँ एमाजोन माइक्रोसफ्टको ब्याक्ड करिकुलममा. तर अब अगेन यहाँ हामी कुरा गरिरहेछौँ कि त्यो इन्ट्रोड्युस गर्नु पऱ्यो भनेर. बट यो चाहिँ त्यो हुन्छ नि फुल्ली एक्सेप्टेड भएको छैन कि. दे हेभ implemented by using some loophole कि त्यो इलेक्टिभको टाइटल माथिको चाहिँ चेन्ज नगर्ने कोर्स कन्टेन्ट चेन्ज गराएर गरिरहेछौँ कि राम्रो चिज गर्ला नि पाप गरे यसरी गर्नु परिरहेछ होइन अनि दिज इन्फर्मेसन्सहरू चाहिँ खास नलेज प्रब्लम नै छैन वर्ल्ड वाइड फ्रीमा यति नलेज इन्फर्मेसनहरू छन् अब लाइक अमित सेड एआईको नलेज कति फ्री छ प्रब्लम कहाँनिर छ भने त्यो एक्सेस टु नलेजको अवेरनेस नै छैन अनि नाइदर प्राइभेट सेक्टर डज इज नट गभर्मेन्ट ब्याक इट अप एज वेल अब अहिले हामीले फ्री जिपियूको कुरा गरिरहेछौँ अमित आई थिङ्क योर सेल्फ यर कम्पनी लाइक प्राउडली टुक $20,000-30,000 credit from Amazon, right, to run whatever you guys are running as well. So, I mean, there's a lot of free platform credits and funds from Amazon, Google, Microsoft, right? So, where we should focus is, I mean, there was one Amazonian guy here in the room. I mean, how many people know, like, there was the biggest technology conference from Amazon that happened Saturday? I mean, none of the media actually report because it wasn't a big thing. I mean, the big thing would be, एउटा नेताले कुन कालो रङको जुत्ता लगायो कि सेतो रङको जुत्ता लगायो would be a big news thing for all of the media as well, for example. So what I'm saying is, especially for government or other bureaucrats, you go and talk with Amazon, ask मलाई 10 million को services run गर्ने credit दिउँ. Like, when I say credit, it's like a free fund दिउँ. I'm not just saying Amazon. Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Huawei, let's go and negotiate. के यो World Bank सँग 30-40 million को चाहिँ त्यो लोन लिन सट्टा I mean, why we need loan? When we use that loan to buy server from China or US or somewhere, and then we can run the services. I mean, the ultimate end goal is to running a proper email system, to run a proper AI system, for example. So it is already built there. So why do we have to follow the same pathway? We go and talk to Anthropic and OpenAI, say कि 30 million population sir, 20 million ले AI चलाउँछ होला. Can you actually give AI free for all of our public, for example? And जुन अघि न अमितको क्वेसन थियो नि, I mean, it's a scale, right? So none of the country in the world do that. So we become pioneer. I mean, it's a much easier thing, Amit, in my opinion. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone.
यो डेटा छ नि हाम्रो एआईको लागि पनि चाहियो कि अब चाहिँ हाम्रो डेटा ओपन गरिदिनु पर्ने भयो द्याट्स भेरी इम्पोर्टेन्ट अहिले
So I hope it's being noted down. And yes, there are other challenges. We all have been talking about data classification and data sovereignty. That is very important. But when we say data sovereignty, there could be not just physical boundaries, there could be digital locks because we need to scale. And with that, thank you once again, everyone. Thank you, Anjanita. Thank you, Shanana ma'am.
Thank you so much. I'd like to request all our speakers to please stay back. We'd like to present a small token of love to our distinguished speakers who shared indeed a very insightful conversation on fintech innovation shaping the future of business in Nepal. To felicitate our speakers, may I invite on stage the president of Civifin, Prachanda Bahadur Shrestha, and the officiating president of Nikki, Kunal Kayal. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a round of applause for our speakers? Felicitating our speaker, Mr. Anjani Fuyal, CEO, Genesis Solution. Likewise, sharing our gratitude to Ms. Sunena Gimire Pandey, President, CAN Federation. Likewise, sharing our gratitude to our moderator, President of Fintech Alliance Nepal, Mr. Amit Agrawal. Thank you so much to all our speakers. Once again, this was indeed an eye-opening session. A definitely forward-looking conversation on fintech. Thank you so much. We're marching towards the end.